Hey guys, Hecon's here with another World of Warcraft gold making guide. Today we're going to be looting more mailboxes, talking about gold making strats, and I'll briefly go over my prep for Season 2 and the new raid, which will drop on Tuesday the 22nd. I'll also be going over any questions that you guys left for me in last week's video. If you have any questions for me, remember that you can leave them in the comments of the most recent mailbox video, and you may see them featured and answered in future videos. If you see that someone else has asked the same question, remember to upvote it, as I'll take this into consideration and try to pick the highest rated questions. Anyways, let's get started. So tonight we're back on one of my main makers on this realm. You guys can see that I have around 4.5 pages worth of auctions, or 222 mail, and around 300k to collect in the first page. You can see that I've been buying veiled crystals at 400 gold and under. The new raid drops on Tuesday, so should see some really nice sales with the enchants, and that's why I'm stocking up on the veiled crystals. Even over the weekend, you guys can see that I was able to sell the weapon enchants for around 1.4k, and the ring enchants for a little over 2k, so if I'm buying veiled crystals for 400 gold and I'm selling enchants for like 1.4 for the weapons, that's a 1k margin for making Ember Shards and the Gloom Dust. Yeah, bracers are easy to make on my realm. Pretty cheap, so really nice profit with these weapon enchants. You guys can see a nice glaive sale here at 50k. I grabbed a couple of these at like, I think 15k. So it was a really nice flip. Managed to sell one of those for 47k. So pretty much like tripled my gold. You can see I'm selling a bunch of the 340s as well still. Plate Whisk Guards for 7.5k. The ore is actually quite expensive on my realm still, so not sure what the profit is on that one, but probably around like 5k. And then you guys can see I've been selling a bunch of the Abyssal Crystals, or Abyssal Fragments rather. I'm getting a nice 13k after the auction house cut. Sold, looks like 7. So I usually post singles on this tune, and then I also have another banker that has a stack of 20 that I'm trying to sell. I have those listed for a little bit higher, since I figured someone might just want a stack of 20 to get their mount, rather than trying to like pick up the singles for cheap, so I just list singles on this tune, and I've been doing quite well with these actually. Anytime they drop below like 5k, I'll pick them up and then reset, so definitely worth taking a look at on your realm, see if the prices are low, and then if they are, just buy them out, and potential reset item here. See the Torrents is down to around 600 gold, which is probably pretty close to crafting, which is unfortunate, but I think I picked up a bunch at, they'd like drop below like 400 gold, which is less than veiled crystals, so I got a bunch of those, and yeah, I've been slowly selling these off. You can see more Dark Moon deck sales. Blockades is at around 15k. Squalls at 15 as well. And Tides is down to 10k. Definitely the least demand for the Tides, I believe. And then Blockades and Squalls are about the same. And of course the hot item is the Fathoms, but I don't see any Fathom sales on this page, so I'm going to go ahead and loot page 1, and then we'll take a look at page 2. So here's page 2, or the next 50 auctions. You can see a ton of Dark Moon deck sales here. Blockades at around 14.2. Fathoms at 30.4. Tides at 10.4, and Squalls at 12.3. You guys can see that I've been buying Platinum ore. Around 30 gold's pretty good deal on my realm, so I saw a bunch at around 30, and I expect the prices to go up when the new raid hits. Remember that there's new 385 crafted gear. Buying on pickup, of course, but the legs take a lot of platinum ore, I believe 50 to craft, so pretty much any of the plate-wearing raiders with blacksmithing are going to pick up the platinum ore. And we should see a pretty big surge in demand, I think, on Tuesday and the rest of the week. So I bought up the platinum ore that was around 30 gold, and even today I checked the prices and they were over 40, so should be able to flip these starting on Tuesday for a pretty nice profit. You'll also want to take a look at the deep sea satin. I believe the tailoring 385s require a bunch of that as well, so if you can get that for cheap before the raid hits, you should be able to flip it at a nice profit. You can see I picked up 2 fathoms as well for 21k and 23k. There was one of my competitors on my realm yesterday. We were going back and forth with the undercuts, so played a game of chicken, and I eventually just bought out the ones that he had at 21 and 23k. And you guys can see later I was able to get 30.4k for one, so made a nice 7k profit on this one. And then I think over the weekend I've been selling them pretty consistently for 35k. And you should see those sales once we hit page 3 and page 4, so pretty happy about that. We got a nice BOE sale here at 50.4k. The K-Iron Blade of the Wolves. I think I picked these up for around 20k. And I think I have another one in my inventory. I haven't listed it since the prices are still a bit low. I might actually do a reset this week if the prices get low enough. I was actually checking before. I think they were down to like 30k. So yeah, there's one at 30k, one at 40k, and one at 50k. A 355 at 300k. 100k bid. So I'm sure these guys will undercut each other back down to like 20k. And that's when I'll jump in and buy out the ones at 20k. And like I said, I was able to get 50k for one over the weekend, so yeah, just about being patient, looking for the deals, the right opportunity, and then timing your buys and your sells. Similar concept with this one, the Morse's Course Chain Gauntlets. I picked up 2 of these at 10k, and I was able to get 23.7k for one, so easily paid for both of those and made 3.7k from one sale. I think that's all on this page, so I'm going to loot this and show you guys page 3. So here's page 3. I have around 371k to collect on this page. You can see I did a COD on some of the linen bracers. Managed to get 150 gold each for those. I'm crafting the bracers for around 20 gold, so it's a nice 130 gold profit for each of the bracers. A little sad the buyer didn't want more, but they said they were fine with 24, so yeah, just did 2 COD mails at 1.8k each. You can see I'm selling a bunch of these Sinister Combatants gear. Leather pieces for 1k seems pretty low, but again, the linen bracers are really cheap to craft, so you can scrap those for the expulsum, and the other mats for the leather stuff's really cheap as well, so crafting cost is really low on the leather pieces. A lot of enchant sales on this page as well. You can see the ring enchants at around I think 2k for the mastery, and then 2.3 after the auction house cut for the haste. Cutlass sale at 9k. Leather leggings at 9.2k. Another blockade sale at 14.2. You can see the blockades were at 19k. This would have been, I think, Saturday morning. It was either like Friday night or Saturday morning. So prices have definitely dipped a bit, but still quite profitable. And then you can see one juicy sale I sold T-Boos at 190k. I actually invested in a bunch of these for a little under 100k. I think my average buy was like 70 or 80k. There were some cheap ones, so invested in a bunch of those, and yeah, managed to sell one on, I think this is Saturday, for 190k. Anyways, I'm going to loop page 3 and then show you guys page 4. So here's page 4. You can see I have around 406k on this page, and that's thanks to some of these Fathom sales at 38k, or 40k before the auction house cut. You can also see that some of the ring enchants are selling for a bit higher on this page. This would have been Friday afternoon. They were going for around 2.5k, whereas earlier today they were down to around 2k, so about a 500 gold difference, which is pretty significant when you're talking about enchants that only cost 2k to 2.5k. You can see the weapon enchants are a little bit lower on this page as well. 1.1k for the Masterful Navigations. Versatile is pretty decent, 1.7k. And Torrent of Elements is around 940 after the auction house cut on this page. A lot more 340 BOE sales. On this page we have Mail Gauntlets, Plate Gauntlets, Plate Arm Guards, and then some leather stuff as well. Gauntlets for 4.8, Treads for 1.4, Leggings for 4.7, and Waistguard for 2.3. Have 2 BOE flips on this page. Fluid resistant specimen handlers, 47.5k. I want to say those are the plate gloves. Yeah, I don't remember what these are, but managed to get 50k for it, and then 47.5 after the auction house cut. Same with the Flaming Gavel of Truth. Managed to flip that for 47.5 after the auction house cut. Remember that I try and pick up these BOEs for 20k or less. Sometimes it's a lot less, so if I can get 50k for something that I paid 20k for, it's a 30k profit. And oftentimes with the 350s, 355s, and 360 weapons, I've been able to sell those for like as much as like 150 to 250 gold, 250k gold. So if you pick up a BOE for like 20k and flip it for, say, 150, that's 130k profit, which is more than enough to pay for one token. Pretty awesome. And then lastly, you guys can see that I sold a bunch of the Abyssal Fragments for 10.9k, around 11k I guess. Sold 8 of those. Was actually hoping for the prices to drop on these, back down to around 5k so I could do a buyout and reset, but ended up selling what I had for 11k here, and then I sold some more earlier today, as you guys saw on page 1 for, it was like 13k. So yeah, the demand for these definitely picks up over the weekend. I sell like 0 of these during the week, and then usually the prices tank, and then some weeks I choose to do a reset, some weeks I don't, and then over the weekend I get a bunch of sales, so pretty good way to make it gold. And yeah, I'm usually doubling my gold on these fragments, so definitely take a look on your realm. And then we had one enchant sale come in, quick nav at 1.4, so I'm gonna go ahead and loot this and then show you guys the last page. So here's the last page. Actually wasn't expecting much, but still managed to pull in 215k on this page with 22 mail. You can see a nice Fathom sale at 38k here. Squalls at 19k. More of the Abyssal Fragments. Looks like I sold 7 on this page for that 10.9k. And then a bunch more enchant sales. 1 leather arm guard at 1.3k. and then a glaive sail. This would have been my first BOE flip on Friday. Managed to get 40.4k. I think the price is back up to around 50k for these, so I think I have 2 up on the auction house right now. Yeah. Just looking for cheap BOEs and flipping them. There are new BOEs coming with a new raid, so I would avoid the feet and the belt slots, unless you can get the BOEs for really cheap. There is also one back coming out with the new raid, so be mindful of that when you're purchasing BOEs to flip. Anyways, that's going to be it for the mailbox opening segment of this video, and now we're going to take a look at your questions. So I had a lot of questions pertaining to Darkmoon decks and setting up on a new realm, which was the topic that I covered in last week's video. The first question comes from Dribble, who asks, what type of realms do you set up on? My personal preference is usually to set up on low to high pop, and I usually stay away from high to full pops for the Darkmoon deck shuffling. The map prices are a lot cheaper on the high pops, which means the shuffle can be a lot less expensive. However, the selling price of the Darkmoon decks are a lot lower, and you're also going to run into a lot more competition. So if you're going to set up on a new realm, I would probably look at like a medium pop. The problem that you run into with the lower pop realms is that the map prices are really high. So even if the selling price of the Darkmoon decks is a lot higher than the high pops, you may run into the problem of having not enough mats or the mats being too expensive. So it's going to cut into your profit margin. Definitely take a look at the prices and the prices of mats on any realm that you set up on. So the next question comes from Frodo, who asked, do you get the rank 3 for the Darkmoon cards and gear on the new realms? I personally don't get the rank 3 for the Darkmoon cards. You would need to grind a lot of rep with the Tortollan, and I think it would just be too much of a time sink for me to do that on 5 or 6 realms. If you have the time and the patience for it, I would say definitely go for it. Only having to spend 8 Viridescent instead of 10 Viridescent ink for the Darkmoon card is pretty significant. 20% cost savings on those inks can add up, but I personally don't do it. And then for the gear, I'm not selling too much of the crafted gear if you're talking about the 340s on the new realms, but those tokens that you use to buy the rank 2 and rank 3 are BOA, so you can transfer those to the new realms so long as it's on the same account. So if you have a bunch of those stockpiled, then I would say go for it, and yeah, it's going to be pretty significant cost savings for a lot of the stuff if you can get it from rank 1 to rank 3. So the next question comes from NumNum, who asked, okay, so the Ulta does deck since a few days ago. Are you buying a WoW token and ultimately starting up the shuffle on the new boosted character? It's either that or another transfer, but it seems buying a token, then getting quick gold that way would be easier. Spill the beans, Seacons. So as far as starting up the shuffle on a new boosted character, I'm usually setting up on realms where I have an established banker already and have some gold. I might have 1 or 2 leveled up characters as well, but may not have a scribe on that realm, and yeah, making sure that it's a realm where I have gold so I don't have to purchase a WoW token. That may not be an option for a lot of people, so yeah, if you can't get gold on that realm, either by transfer or leveling up and grinding out the gold, then a WoW token would definitely be a good option. Remember that you lose around 33% of the value when you do that, converting gold to a token into balance, and then the balance back into a token on the new realm, so definitely factor that into your cost basis, but that is one option. However, I'm just using realms where I have gold already, so I can do the shuffle without that WoW token. So the next question comes from Obi-Gun Kenobi, who asked, could you possibly do a guide or let me know how to set up the Darkmoon deck banker on a fresh realm from scratch? Thanks, enjoying the content. So as far as setting up on a fresh realm from scratch, I covered that a little bit in the previous question. The fastest way is probably going to be with a WoW token. That way you can get gold on the fresh realm. However, if you want to grind it out, you can pick up mining or herbalism on the boosted tune, and then just pick herbs and mine ore while you're leveling to 120. You want to keep everything except for the anchorweed and the ore. Throw those up in the auction house. That'll get you some starting capital, and once you think you have enough, you can drop mining and herbalism and pick up inscription and one of the shuffling professions. Probably tailoring or leatherworking. If the linen's really cheap on your realm, you want to go with tailoring, and then if the coarse leather, shimmer scale, and the bloodstained bones are cheap on your realm, you want to go with leatherworking. Just pick up those mats, and then do the bracer shuffle for the expulsum. And that'll give you the expulsum that you need for the Dark Moon cards. And then with the herbs that you picked earlier with herbalism, just mill those, and that'll get you the Veridicent ink. Pretty time consuming, so as I said, the WoW token's probably going to be a lot faster. It's around 120k for a WoW token right now, so you'll probably need 2 or 3 to get started on a fresh realm, but definitely worth looking into. So the next question comes from Kyle Siegel, who asks why I have multiple accounts. I have multiple accounts for a multitude of reasons. I'm going to be starting to raid on Tuesday, so I can have my old accounts on the auction house, doing undercuts and relisting my auctions while I'm playing on my main. You can also do shuffling on one account and have the second account disenchant or scrap. It's going to be a huge time savings and make you a lot more efficient. The Love is in the Air event is coming up as well, so I generally like to have 10 accounts up for that. And last year I farmed a lot of mounts and made a lot of gold, so plan on doing that again this year. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons to have multiple accounts. Once you can sustain it, once you start rolling in the gold, it's way more efficient and better use of your time to have a second account do something without tying up your main account. So the last question we're going to cover today comes from Bruno RP, who asked, what's the profit for all this? Generally, when I do any sort of shuffling or BOE flips, I try and make at least double or triple my gold back. So as an example, if I buy a BOE for 10k, I want to try and sell it for at least 30k. As far as the 340 crafted gear, the margins are a lot smaller on a lot of the pieces, so may not quite add up to double, so the margins are a lot smaller on those. However, on average, I'm probably spending 100k to make 200k. If you look at the video that I made a few months ago, I showed 2 of my main bankers, and they pulled in around 44 million gold in a month on around a 23 million gold cost basis, so 21 million gold profit. I spent 23 to make 44, so generally if I'm doing BOE flips, I try to shoot for more. Sometimes if I do shuffles, I'm okay with a lot less, and it kind of averages out. Doing really high volume sales, so sometimes I get really lucky. As an example, I did have a sale 2 years ago around Christmas time where I turned a 60k BOE into 1.5 million gold. And yeah, sometimes you get really lucky with BOE flips like that. But on average, I probably make double to triple my gold back on BOE flips. And then probably like maybe 20 to 30% on average for the crafted gear. With the Dark Moon decks, I'm getting a lot larger margins. If I craft the decks for like 6k, I need to get at least 12k for it, so try and double my gold on most of my investments. Triple or better on BOEs, and kind of averages out. So thank you so much to everyone that left me comments and questions in last week's video. Remember that if you want to ask me anything, you can leave it in the comments of this video, and it may get featured in next week's video. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon. Hope you guys all have a great week, and enjoy the new raid when it drops on Tuesday. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Late.